the homeless teen who created Louis Vuitton. No one noticed the thin teenage boy sleeping beneath a wooden bridge with nothing but a worn blanket and a small bundle of tools wrapped in old cloth. To the people who hurried past, he was just another forgotten face trying to survive another freezing night. They laughed when they saw him carving pieces of wood under the fading light, believing he was wasting time dreaming about things that could never happen. But hidden inside that homeless teenager's heart was an extraordinary talent, a relentless determination, and a vision that would one day transform the world of luxury forever. The boy who had no home, no money, and no family name would someday create one of the most recognizable brands in history, Louis Vuitton. If you believe that kindness, hard work, and second chances can completely change someone's life, take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to Moments Hub. Your support helps us continue bringing inspiring stories that remind the world hope can be found even in the darkest moments. Long before his name became known across continents, Louis was simply a frightened boy trying to survive. He was born into a poor family in a quiet French village where life was already difficult even for adults. His father worked endlessly, and his mother spent every day caring for the family despite constant hardship. They had little money, but they had enough love to make every meal feel warm. That fragile happiness disappeared far too soon. Tragedy struck one after another until the young boy found himself completely alone. Before reaching adulthood, he had already experienced more grief than many people face in a lifetime. Without parents to guide him and without anyone willing to care for another hungry mouth, he became homeless. Every morning began with uncertainty. Sometimes he woke to cold rain soaking his clothes. Other mornings he woke to the sound of strangers telling him to leave because no one wanted a homeless teenager nearby. Hunger became his closest companion. Some days he found a small piece of bread. Other days he drank water from public fountains just to silence the pain in his empty stomach. Every evening he wondered if he would survive another night. Yet no matter how cruel life became, he refused to surrender the hope hidden deep inside him. As he wandered from village to village, Louis carefully watched the people around him. Merchants carried heavy trunks filled with valuable possessions. Travelers struggled with poorly made luggage that broke during long journeys. Rich families constantly complained about damaged belongings after traveling across rough roads. While others ignored these problems, Louis observed every detail. His difficult life had taught him something many wealthy people never learned. Every object should serve a purpose, and every problem could become an opportunity if someone cared enough to solve it. His hands, rough from years of hardship, slowly became skilled through constant practice. Whenever he found discarded pieces of wood, he carved them into neat shapes. He repaired broken boxes left behind by travelers simply because he enjoyed making damaged things useful again. People rarely thanked him. Some even mocked him, asking why a homeless boy cared so much about pieces of wood. But each small project quietly sharpened his craftsmanship. The road ahead demanded impossible sacrifices. With almost no money and nowhere to belong, Louis decided to leave everything familiar behind and walk toward Paris. The journey stretched for hundreds of miles. He traveled mostly on foot, sleeping outdoors, enduring storms, blistered feet, aching muscles, and endless exhaustion. Every sunrise tested his determination. Every sunset reminded him how far he still had to go. The roads of France were unforgiving. Thick mud swallowed his worn shoes. Cold winds pierced his thin clothing. Sometimes kind farmers offered him a simple meal after noticing how exhausted he looked. Sometimes strangers gave him nothing except suspicious stares. Every act of kindness restored a little hope. Every rejection strengthened his resolve. He learned that survival depended not only on strength but also on gratitude and patience. When he finally reached Paris after months of walking, the magnificent city looked both beautiful and terrifying. Elegant buildings towered above crowded streets. Wealth and poverty existed side by side. Opportunities filled every corner, but so did fierce competition. Nobody cared about another homeless teenager arriving with empty pockets and impossible dreams. Finding work proved nearly impossible. Employers dismissed him because of his appearance. His worn clothes suggested failure before he even spoke. Days turned into weeks as he searched for someone willing to trust him. Hunger returned with greater force. Sleep became a luxury because safe places were difficult to find. More than once he wondered if the journey had been a terrible mistake. Then one ordinary morning, everything began to change. A respected craftsman noticed something different about the quiet young man asking for work. Instead of seeing dirty clothes, he noticed determined eyes. Instead of focusing on poverty, he recognized remarkable patience. Louis was offered a chance to become an apprentice making travel trunks. The opportunity seemed small to everyone else, but to Louis it felt like someone had finally opened a locked door. He worked harder than anyone expected. Long before sunrise he prepared the workshop. Long after others returned home, he remained perfecting every detail of his craft. Every cut of wood mattered. Every nail had to be placed with precision. Every surface needed to be smooth. His years of surviving with almost nothing had taught him that excellence often comes from people who understand the true value of every resource. Gradually, experienced customers began noticing the quality of his work. His trunks were stronger, lighter, and more practical than many others available at the time. Unlike traditional rounded trunks that wasted space during travel, Louis envisioned flat-top trunks that could be stacked neatly on carriages and trains. It was a simple idea, yet revolutionary for travelers. His reputation spread quietly through Paris. Wealthy families recommended his craftsmanship to friends. Travelers praised how safely their belongings arrived. Orders increased steadily. The homeless teenager who once begged for opportunities was now becoming one of the city's most respected craftsmen. Success did not erase the memories of sleeping under bridges or walking hungry across the countryside. Those painful experiences remained part of him, shaping every decision he made. He treated every customer with respect because he remembered what it felt like to be ignored. He appreciated every order because he remembered having nothing. Most importantly, he refused to compromise on quality because he knew that trust could change someone's future. Years passed, and eventually Louis established his own workshop. It was not built on wealth inherited from family or powerful connections. It stood upon thousands of hours of relentless work, countless disappointments, and unwavering determination. Every trunk leaving his workshop carried not only exceptional craftsmanship but also the story of a boy who refused to let hardship define him. As railways expanded across Europe and travel became increasingly popular, demand for his innovative luggage exploded. People admired the elegance, durability, and practicality of his designs. His name slowly transformed from an individual craftsman's signature into a symbol of quality recognized far beyond Paris. The workshop continued growing. Skilled artisans joined his mission. Innovation never stopped. Every new design aimed to improve travelers' lives rather than simply impress them. Customers returned because they trusted the care placed into every piece. That trust became the strongest foundation any business could ever possess. Behind every remarkable achievement stood invisible memories of loneliness, hunger, rejection, and perseverance. Most customers never imagined that the respected craftsman whose name appeared on elegant trunks had once wandered the roads without a place to sleep. They admired the finished products without realizing the painful journey that created them. Life continued presenting new challenges. Competition increased as others attempted to copy his ideas. Economic difficulties affected businesses throughout France. Political uncertainty created additional obstacles. Yet the values formed during his difficult childhood remained stronger than temporary setbacks. When someone has survived homelessness, many business challenges appear much smaller. His family eventually helped continue the business, preserving the commitment to craftsmanship and innovation. Generation after generation expanded upon the foundation he built with his own hands. What began as one determined young craftsman's dream evolved into a globally recognized luxury house admired around the world. Today millions recognize the Louis Vuitton name. Beautiful stores stand in famous cities. Elegant products travel across continents. Yet behind every recognizable logo exists a much deeper story than luxury alone. It is the story of resilience. It is the story of refusing to surrender after unimaginable loss. It is the story of a homeless teenager who transformed suffering into purpose. Perhaps the greatest lesson from Louis's journey has nothing to do with fashion or expensive products. It reminds us that true success rarely begins with comfort. Many extraordinary lives begin in ordinary pain. Some of history's greatest achievements grow from moments when everything appears hopeless. The world often overlooks struggling young people because it judges appearances instead of potential. Yet hidden beneath worn clothes may exist talent capable of changing generations. Imagine if someone had convinced Louis to stop believing in himself during those lonely nights beneath the bridge. Imagine if hunger had destroyed his determination. Imagine if rejection had persuaded him that he was worthless. History would have lost one of its most influential creators, and millions would never know the inspiring journey behind the famous name. There are countless people today carrying invisible dreams while facing overwhelming hardship. Some are sleeping in shelters. Some are working multiple jobs. Some feel forgotten by society. Their current circumstances do not define their future. Just like Louis, they may be building strength through struggles no one else understands. Every act of kindness matters because we never truly know whose future we are touching. The stranger we encourage today may become tomorrow's innovator, artist, teacher, or leader. A single opportunity can completely redirect someone's life. One person choosing compassion instead of judgment can create a chain of hope reaching farther than anyone imagines. Before we reach the end of this story, tell us in the comments, have you ever overcome a challenge that made you stronger, or has someone else's kindness changed your life forever? We'd love to read your story. If this story touched your heart, inspired you to keep believing through difficult times, or reminded you that greatness can come from the most unexpected beginnings, please like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to Moments Hub. Your support allows us to continue sharing powerful stories that inspire hope, courage, and compassion around the world. The next time you hear the name Louis Vuitton, remember that behind the famous brand was once a lonely teenager with empty pockets, tired feet, and nowhere to sleep. The world saw a homeless boy with nothing. He saw a future no one else could imagine. He refused to let tragedy write the final chapter of his life, and because he kept walking when giving up would have been easier, his story became proof that dreams are never measured by where we begin but by the courage to keep moving forward, one determined step at a time.